And thanks for coming on tonight, man. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
All right, Ray, we're rolling. Whenever you're
What's
ready.
up, everybody? This is Ray Big Country Cody with my co host Big Mike, and we have our special guest today, Danny Long Haul Medeiros. I'd like to say Danny and I had a battle of a war last weekend at Patterson, but Danny whooped me very convincingly, very easily, very dominating 3-0. So I thought we would have Danny come on and some point in the show we'll go over our match, but I wanted to talk with Danny to have him tell us what he did to prepare for our match. Anything different, anything special for it. Kind of get a background of who Danny is, and I know Danny's been in the sport for 2 years. He's a great guy. I mean, super guy, super humble, super respectful, which is what this sport needs. And I think Danny will be going places within California arm wrestling and eventually nationally. So Danny, thank you for coming on, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on here. This is my first podcast, so it's just pretty awesome.
Well, thank you for coming on, man. We are a small podcast, as you know. We have recently rebranded, and we're starting from scratch, man. We're building our subscribers up organically. We'll build and grow, hopefully, and that way, when you guys come on, you'll get even more of a reach.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Cool. So, I know you've been in the sport for about 2 years.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you the same questions I ask everybody. First, starting out. So it's 3 questions. First question: what got you into the sport?
So I discovered arm wrestling during COVID. I was a truck driver. Well, I am a truck driver, and I was furloughed, and so I was off work for 5 months, and basically I was just like scrolling through YouTube and I just went down like some rabbit hole and found arm wrestling. And like the first thing I ever saw of arm wrestling, I think was Devin and Larry Wheels. And I just started like watching like all these videos of arm wrestling. And I actually remember, Ray, I contacted you in like 2021 about arm wrestling. And when I went back to work, I didn't have a schedule where like I had weekends off. My days off were like Tuesday and Wednesday. So like I was actually never able to like go to anybody's practices or ever compete. So I kind of basically was just like, you know, lifting weights and watching videos. And then finally I told myself like, um, if you don't go to this tournament in Ripon, you're never gonna do it because it's literally right here. I just stopped making, so I just went to Ripon, Jody Smith's tournament in Ripon, and you know, been obsessed and hooked with it ever since.
You're muted, Ray.
There we go. I
There
got
you
to
go.
remember to do that. I can't think and walk sometimes. So the next question: um, what is your biggest win to date of your arm
My
wrestling career?
my biggest win today is is beating you on Saturday without
Okay, good. I'm
question.
glad I got in there somewhere.
Without question. I mean, I've mostly just been competing locally for California Arm Wrestling Entertainment, and I have some wins against like Eric Linville and there's an Egyptian guy here who is actually an Olympian in freestyle wrestling. His name's Ahmed. I have a victory over him. But beating you was by far so far like the biggest win, the biggest name that I've beaten so far.
And with
Right
following
on.
that up, what is your biggest loss so far?
Well, the loss that I think that kind of irked me the most was probably in January. No, it wasn't January. It was just recently. I lost to Eric Linville in a tournament on fouls, which really pissed me off because like every foul I committed was like half an inch from the pin pad, like I blew him up and I would just foul and I'm like, what? Come
I
on,
know.
like
Yeah.
and it happened like 3 times in a row and I ended up losing, and that was super annoying. But gotta learn to keep my elbow on the pad, I guess.
Yeah, that's ours. That little 7x7 pad gets small there real quick.
Yeah, it does, man. Holy crap.
So one of the things that makes our podcast a little different is Mike and I actually were on different sides of the spectrum on some things. One of the things that we're in disagreement of, and again, this is just one of these questions I ask everybody because I just love to bring it up and I love to debate. Um, in your opinion, in your opinion, who is the GOAT of arm wrestling and why?
I actually am kind of like in the same boat that you are. I think the goat of arm wrestling is Devin Lorette. Like I said, the first real video I ever watched on YouTube with arm wrestling was Devin, and I just like so he was the first name I knew. Growing up, I watched Over the Top. It's ironic. I'm a truck driver and now I'm an arm wrestler, but I loved the Over the Top movie. But I never really knew arm wrestling was like a real like sport, which sucks
Same here,
because I
brother.
wish I would have known when I was 30. I'm
Right.
46 now.
Right.
But yeah, Devin was the first guy. I went down the rabbit hole. I watched everything, everything, everything. And, you know, like to me, like I know everybody says it's Brezink, but I wasn't like around in the Brezink era. Like I saw the end
Right.
of it, and I'm like living through the Devon era, and so
Hmm.
I think he is. He's literally the only guy that beats him is Levon, and that's you know.
And that
Other
kind
than
of goes
that, he's the
back.
most famous arm wrestler, and to me, he's the most successful, and I consider him the goat.
Well, he was just on the Joe Rogan show, which is the largest podcast in
Yeah,
America.
exactly.
Now
Millions of
Mike brought up a good point last week. The biggest difference between Devin and John is right here.
yeah.
The,
He's on the phone.
the
But
cell
yeah,
phone.
also I think Devin has more charismatic nature than John Brezink to begin with. I think John would kind of need like a hype man or a handler, sort of. Whereas Devin can just, he's just a cool guy and he just can talk to anybody and still come off the same person no matter who he's talking to. You could be talking to Joe Rogan, or you could be talking to some guy in a garage that he's showing how to do the King's move too. You know what I mean? Like he's just super cool. So even in that interview though, Ray, Devin said, he was talking about how John Brezink is probably, one of the goats and stuff like that. And he named a list, So
Oh,
I think, like I said, without John Brezink, I don't think you get Devin. So
well,
that's where I'm at.
with that being said, then I could say without Norm Devio, there would be no John Brezink,
There you go. See, it's a
right?
cycle. It's a
Without
cycle. There's really no good answer. There's really no good answer.
Without Bob Cousy, there would be no
Right.
Larry Bird.
Right.
With so it comes. So I don't again. Just doesn't mean that John Brezink isn't an absolute great, right? Doesn't mean he didn't beat anybody and everybody of his time. Cleve Dean, Richard Lucas. I mean, he beat the giants. Dennis Saplenkoff. He beat the giants of his time, you know. But I just think Devin and giving its due, right? Like Michael said, Devin is just more charismatic. He's
Yes.
more approachable. Due to the internet and social media and the exposure of arm wrestling, greatly due to him. You know, he's
I mean,
just
this
more
man's proof of it
reachable.
right here. Look at him. Just 2 years ago, the only reason he's in is because he stumbled across the video with Devin and
Oh,
Larry.
it's 100% the thing that attracted me really to Devin after like discovering like him was like the personality. You know what I mean? Was like the the shenanigans, the craziness. You know what I mean? Like he's a WWE character basically,
Yeah, I
and
get
that's
that. Yeah,
and people like characters, and that's why he has a million followers or whatever it is. It's like he has a gimmick. That's
yep,
his gimmick
yes,
is
yep.
him. But I that's why I think he's the goat. Like with all
But
due
his
respect
gimmick,
to John Brzezink's just kind of like a standard boring
He's
guy.
a robot. He
Yeah,
was almost like a robot up there sometimes.
exactly.
well, there's no entertainment factor with John. With Devin, he'll go up to he'll go up to the table like we did as he slid his hand up the peg,
Mm-hmm.
to put his hand on his head.
Right.
Devin's entertaining. I'm not a big fan of Travis Bagent, but when Travis Bagent was in the sport, Travis
I
was the
love
mouth,
Travis.
right?
Yeah.
He was Travis is the Ali of arm wrestling,
Yeah.
and at the time there was no one more visible than Travis.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I was a huge Bajent fan. I love Travis.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen prime Travis Bagent because I've gone
Holy
back
shit,
and
dude.
watched all the videos.
Oh, he was something else, man. He
I
was
watched
something
the
else.
Pulling John documentary. I've seen everything, and dude, I seen like you seen when his son got drafted into the NFL. Dude was on NFL Network, charming all those
Yep.
guys that do the interviews and everything, and I was
Yep.
like, man, if this guy was active right now, he'd be just as big as Devin because. Like I remember
Oh
one
yeah.
thing, and I use this line all the time when people ask me about arm wrestling. He was like, all right, so you put your elbow here, and then to win, you go here, and that's usually what I do is I win. So like,
Yeah. Yep.
uh, so it's like awesome.
Yeah, I do wish that he was back and pulling a little bit here and there.
Yeah, he
Well,
missed it by a few years because
I mean,
right now is the time to be an arm wrestler, and he just missed it by a few years.
see, I don't think he missed it. I think it's by design. I mean, if Travis wanted to come back on the scene and be dominant, he could.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way around it. But I mean, he's got his son Tyson right now. He's the backup quarterback for the Chicago Bears. They're getting ready to move to Indiana. So we're not going to have the Chicago
Pretty cool
Bears
for
That's
me.
anymore.
crazy,
Bears
man.
fan, I'm pretty happy about that.
I mean, when the gridiron's leaving Chicago, there's a problem.
Oh my God, that's
Coming pretty
I
close to
dealt
me
with a
here.
similar thing being like I'm like a hardcore San Francisco 49er fan. Like if you could look over my shoulder, and you go in my
Oh,
garage, you
sure. I
can
see
see,
that back there.
all that stuff. And we left the city, we left San Francisco and went 40 miles to Santa Clara. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I was never happier because Candlestick was like a historic site, but it was a dump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, and
Sure.
the city officials wouldn't get the team, so they relocated to Santa Clara, and Levi's is not that great, but, at least you don't have to like deal with being in the city.
Right. So I got a question for you as a 49ers guy. Are you more of a Montana guy or a Steve Young guy?
Steve Young,
Steve Young,
100%,
yeah, okay. I was,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, brother.
Because
I
Joe
was just checking.
Montana was like, I'm 46, and Joe Montana was a quarterback when I became a fan 9 years old, but I was 9 years old, right? Like Steve
Right.
Young was like the quarterback when I was playing football in high school, when at my teenage years, like I had a Steve Young number 8 jersey.
Man,
so-
I feel really fucking old right now. Holy shit. Fucking
Yeah, so-
when Joe Montana was a quarterback, I was 9 years old. Motherfucker, I was already fucking stacking bodies in the desert and knocking fucking queens. What the fuck?
yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Oh yeah, like you ask my dad, because when my dad came from Portugal, he got a job at Foster Farms, and so he became a Niner fan because everybody that worked at Foster Farms was a Niner fan, and then passed it on to me. I'm a Niner fan, and my dad thinks Joe Montana is better than Steve Young, and I'm just like, well, I'm a Steve Young guy, so.
Well, I'm a Notre Dame guy, so I live in South Bend, so I gotta say that
Oh, okay, cool.
I gotta go with
Yeah.
Joe. I gotta go with Joe.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Now, Mike, I got a little bit of respect for you. Now you're a Notre Dame guy. That's a good
That's
man.
right.
Good man. Rudy, greatest football movie of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually a lie, though. You know,
Yeah, I know.
everybody knows it. Rudy
I
was
know.
actually a real piece of shit around town, but it is what it is. It's
Oh,
okay.
was
He,
he
It's okay.
really?
he was a
Oh
real
yeah.
piece of shit, and him
Oh
being
yeah. He
carried
was a
off
real piece of
was a
shit.
joke. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
anything of honor.
You mean
But
Hollywood
you know,
lied?
it was a
Wow.
nice
He
story, so we'll
fabricated it.
roll with it.
Yeah, it made you
Exaggerated.
feel fuzzy and warm inside.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of like that. What was that other movie there? Invincible
Oh yeah,
with
Mark
Mark
Wahlberg.
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Mock.
So, Danny, one of the things we wanted to do with you is I think it was the final match of mine and yours that I sent to Mike. Kind of want him to bring it up and let you kind of break it down, what you were thinking approaching the table and all that. If you wouldn't mind doing that for us, bud.
Yeah. So right here, the first thing I'm thinking about is you're up 2-0. Do not freaking lose. I mean, like that's I was just thinking like you got this. I was just in my head, like, do not lose, do not lose. Like I just was not going to, fail because I had a 2-0 lead. I was thinking, don't foul out, don't foul, you know. Basically, let's see. One thing too here, like basically, like I was trying to like really. I think I go for the hook or whatever. I was just really like thinking just get that hook and hit that side pressure, because I just at that point I felt like you wouldn't be able to stop it. But like my biggest enemy is myself. Like you've told me before, like I don't have like high self, like confidence or whatever. Even though like everybody tells me, oh, you're so big and you're so strong. Well, you know, I I don't know that I am. But I guess I am. And so yeah, really, I'm just trying to not screw this up.
Right. So here we are. We're getting set up. They're squaring us off, trying to get us centered.
Yeah, see,
You elbow foul.
foul.
It looks like.
Yeah, yeah, because I just like do not foul, do not foul. And like Ray, like I this was like the most I've ever trained for a match. This is the most like serious I've been for a match. Like I had like Spencer Pow Pow told me, he goes, dude, Ray's gonna kill you. He goes, I pulled Ray before. He's gonna kill you. You know, and he came up to me afterwards and like, mad respect to Spencer. He was like, dude, congratulations. Like, he reiterated, like, I thought he was gonna kill you. And
A lot of
so
people in your camp thought you were going to lose, didn't they?
yeah, Rick Banis. I mean, Rick Banis helped me train for you. We were working on a press, so I was going to debut that if I needed, and me and Jody Smith, a lot of sparring, a lot of working. When I did the Battle of the Benders 2, after that, I literally set up a table and everybody who walked by, here, pull me left, pull me left, pull me left. And it took me 2 weeks to recover. That's how much I pulled left that day, because like I said, I took you. I was like, to me, this was like my Super Bowl.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think people give me more credit than I deserve, because they think when they think of my name, they think of the Country Crush handle, you
Mm.
know. So I think they give me a little more credit. I mean, I'm okay. I'm an okay puller, but like I said, I think people they remember me from 20 years ago. Now Ray Cody 20 years ago would rip your fucking arm off.
I believe it. Yeah.
you know. Um, but
So you're up.
unlike Michael Todd, I can't reinvent myself and have 2.0, 3.0 10
I was
billion
gonna
point
bust
oh.
out the bitch move too right here.
Yeah,
Well, you're up 2-0. Let's see what happens here.
Okay.
Boom, nice and clean.
Yeah.
and honestly, every match was like that. I had nothing for Daniel. Like I was telling Daniel the other day, the best way I can describe it, it's like I'm loading up, and it was like everything was slow motion. Ready, go, and by the time I heard go, he already went, and I'm already done. I just couldn't fire. I couldn't fire the piston. You
Yeah,
know.
I worked with Rick Danis. I worked on speed. I worked on the don't move, go. You know, I literally did like everything. That was like the best version of myself in arm wrestling that I've been in 2 years. Um, like I said, like I prepped really, really hard. And you know, maybe if people were like telling me, "Oh, you're gonna smoke them," I probably would have been, you know, not as serious. But like I'm telling you, people were telling me, "Bro, Big Country's gonna kick your butt. You need to learn to say no." That's what they said. You need to learn to say no. You
Wow.
know? Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and I was like, all right, well,
Well,
you know.
they need to learn not to give me so much credit.
Ray, what was your training like for this match?
So to be honest with you, and I told this to Danny, I hadn't touched a weight or a table since Vegas. The only thing I was doing was a sports grip rotating little tool that I have. That's all I was doing because I'd hurt my wrist in Vegas. Um, so I wanted to heal, so I didn't want to keep aggravating it. So I felt, honestly, just healing. I felt great. Okay, let's put that out there. My arm felt great. My arm felt strong. Um, Gripping up with Danny, I wasn't like, oh shit. Nothing about what he was doing, setting up, intimidated me or bothered me. It was just I couldn't fire. I couldn't fire off, and that's where he capitalized. And of course, he's powerful, he's strong. So once he got me flat and got my palm turned up, I mean, I think the first match I slowed him down for a brief moment, but I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't pronate out of his hand. It was just too strong. And pretty much that's the same with the second and third match.
I feel like table time would have helped you.
No, because I don't do table time. Even if I was training full blown every day without stopping, that wouldn't include hooking up with anybody on the table. So I can't say that would be the factor. I honestly think I came in as a better version of me without the training than if I would have kept irritating aggravating the injury.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, um, I would have rather come in, and like I said, I felt great. I don't, people are, I've heard a couple of comments. Oh, Ray wasn't feeling well, or Ray, that's bullshit. Because at the bottom line is this: I showed up, I put my arm on the table, and he got the best version of me he could get. And
if you feel that way and believe it, yeah.
Do I want to rematch with Danny? Absolutely.
Right.
Now that my
ask you what's next. So what's
now
next
that
for
my
you?
wrist is feeling a little better, and I can start hitting it hard again, and I did. I started this weekend. Maybe next time we'll go beard for beard. Now he might be a little confident, and he might put that beard up.
Hey, like I told you on the phone, and the famous words of Follow Creed, ain't gonna be no rematch. But yeah, we can do it again. I have the utmost respect for you. I think you want to do it again. Yeah.
Here's my thing, and I'm no one special, right? I'm not John Brzezinski. I'm not Devin Lorette. I've done nothing great in this sport to be remembered. I'm a fan. I love the sport, but I believe that we all have our levels, right? And as a coach, like Desmond right now could easily beat me, which
He's a
means I
stud.
did my job, right?
Yeah, he's
That's
a beast.
that's me as a coach. If you can't beat me after a year, I haven't done my job.
Yeah.
You
No, you
know,
did a great job
and
with
not
that
that,
young man. He's a monster.
and not that I'm your coach, but like I told you in Patterson, I am actually a better coach than I am an arm wrestler, which is evidenced with Desmond. Because
Yeah, I mean
any,
you're a great coach, that's for sure. I think you don't give yourself enough credit either on the table, but you know,
well,
We
I
got that
appreciate
asshole
that.
Scott Mendelson started.
Yeah, well, you know what, man, Scott was a different animal.
He honestly got a lot of people started and going, and then they dropped his ass for whatever reason.
True. But I think a lot of that.
Just keep it real, man. You wanted to keep it real on the
No,
pit.
and
Keeping it
you're
real.
right. You're right. I've helped out a lot of people in this sport, whether it be sponsoring them, or I mean, Christ, I can't even tell you how many tables I gave people to get them
We're not even
started.
talking about thousands of fucking country crushes you gave away for nothing.
Oh, I can't. Yeah,
Yeah,
literally. And yeah, you're right. And when I needed the support the most, it wasn't there. But you know what? It's a new day. It's a new dawn, and I'm loving arm wrestling again, and I'm loving the people I'm meeting and the lessons I'm learning. And at the end of the day, it's about camaraderie. It's about the love of the sport.
yeah.
And I want to see the sport grow. I want to see it get to a point where the young studs of the sport, like Auden Lorette and Jeremy Parker. Holy shit! Did
What
you
a
guys
great
see
match.
that match?
Yeah.
Wow, wow! Like I wasn't surprised that Jeremy won, right?
I wasn't either.
But holy shit, that was such an entertaining match.
Oh, that was a great match. I loved it. I knew Jeremy was gonna hit him so hard with that side pressure, because I see his videos and he's doing like 265 on the side pressure machine, and I have one of those, and my side pressure number is like 185. you know, and he's just I knew he was gonna blast through Autumn or Autumn, and so yeah, I wasn't really shocked either that he won, but it was a good fight. It was very entertaining, like you said.
Yep. And to be honest with you, I mean everybody knows I'm not a big Michael Todd fan, but congratulations to Michael Todd for becoming the heavyweight right hand champion in an absolute war. I'm not surprised that Michael won. I made the comment. I go, it's pretty sad he's got to go down in weight, to stay relevant on the elite level. And then he goes into the bitch move.
Yeah, literally.
It's like
Like every
all
time.
right, man, congratulations on your win, but can we get one fucking win out of you where you don't go into the bitch move? Michael
Yeah.
Todd, your fans want to see you arm wrestle without that move. But seriously, congratulations to him and becoming the champ. Also, congratulations to Bognard for his win. Some great matches, but I'll tell you, if I had to pick match of the night, it would be Auden Lorette and Jeremy Parker.
Oh, and respect to Bob Brown too.
Yeah, Bob Brown. Yeah, kicking ass. That man is just impressive all the way around.
Oh yeah, he was at Patterson last year,
Yep.
and he was the overall champion in Patterson,
Yep.
and he won the belt. That was my first exposure to him, and it's really cool because he's 60 years old, and I don't know how he lost his leg, but he's up there with one leg, and
Yep.
he beat a
I'm
21-year-old
usually up there
kid
with
who
one leg
is like
too.
the next big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, arm wrestling is so exciting now. I mean, it is.
It is.
I mean, if you can look at everything that arm wrestling is developing into, again, the fact that Devin Lorette was on Joe Rogan Friday night is freaking huge.
Bro, I was
Huge.
I was
right now.
scrolling through my phone and I got the YouTube notification because I'm a pretty regular listener to Rogan, and you were the first person. I hit the share link and I sent it to you.
Yep.
Because it's.
Yep.
I was like, holy crap, this is huge.
Yeah. I mean, but see, the thing is, we need more Devons.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do totally.
You
for
know,
sure.
I mean, I love Todd Hutchings, but he's a farm boy.
Right.
Hmm.
You know, um, you know who's really entertaining, and I don't know if it's just a Canadian thing. Matt Mast.
Yeah,
Oh, sure. Yeah, he is.
I love watching him pull. I love him. Watch him on the table, all his theatrics, everything that he does.
and his
Super,
funky
super.
hand, his fingers are all bent, all weird,
Yeah,
and yeah.
super, super freaking entertaining. Did you see the match where he broke his finger or dislocated it?
I don't remember, but
It was
I've seen.
WAL
Oh, okay.
2017. They're in Las Vegas and he's pulling Devin, and he dislocates this finger, and he just grabs it, pops it back
Mm.
in, grips back up, and freaking goes and pulls. He's
Oh
a
yeah.
savage.
Yeah, his hand is something else. Like the way his fingers are all bent and twisted and everything, it's pretty wild.
So who do you see? I mean, it's pretty evident the super heavyweight class is. I don't see too much movement in the top, with the top 5 people in that class. But a class that doesn't get talked a lot about is the middleweights. You know, Bongard just beat Hutchings 4-1. Who do you see in the middleweight division right now for the United States that could come and take that belt back?
From Bogdan, oh, I don't think anybody can right now. I mean, it's really hard to like that guy just beat the guy that nobody could beat. He was like unstoppable. Like Todd Hutchins, like Toddzilla. I honestly I thought he was going to beat Bogdan. Um, so it's really hard to say, because I don't. There's nobody on that level in America right now that I can think of off the top of my head. Um, but you know, hats off to Bogdan because, like I thought Toddzilla was unbeatable at that weight class.
Yeah, that was well. I'm not going to say I was totally shocked. Um, I,
I was
I
totally shocked.
I was more impressed with the stamina of Hutchings and the grace in which he lost. You got a lot of people that wouldn't, that's been on top as long as he has, wouldn't have been quite as graceful, walking off that stage without the
And I
belt.
think he knew it. I don't want to say I think he knew he was going to lose, but he was like I know he was worried about the speed because I think he even
Yeah.
said in the press conference like, I'm going to have to catch him, because the speed was just a lot.
Another one I gotta point out. He was on the prelim card. I got to give a big shout out to my boy Paul Passmore. You know,
Oh, sure.
Paul did great winning
Yeah,
his
he won his
matches.
class or something in the tournament.
Yep, I think Josh Eaton won his as well. How did Corey West do?
Corey won. I think he won like it was either 4-0 or 4-1. I can't remember, but he won.
I just love Corey, man. I think that I just think he's ready to explode. I think he's ready to really take over and dominate the super heavyweight scene. Um, Super nice guy. Trains. I mean, I think he's got like over a 600-pound bench,
Yeah, he was.
something like that. He's just a big. Well, and again, he trains with Michael too. So,
Well,
he's
yeah,
just
that's the thing too is about Corey that I've learned like through social media and stuff. Like he has a business that he runs or something, and so like arm wrestling is like not the most important thing to him,
right.
and if arm wrestling became like his job or whatever, he'd probably be the number one guy in America for sure. Yeah, because
Oh,
he has all the
absolutely.
tools. He legit has like a 10-inch wrist,
Yeah.
like for sure.
There was another guy that trained with Michael back in the day, Bruce something. I actually seen him beat Michael. The guy was just an absolute monster. But he just kind of faded away. Kind of the same thing. He ran a business or whatever, and arm wrestling wasn't his primary concern.
Right.
Chuck Young. Remember that
Who?
guy?
Chuck Young? The
Yeah.
Destroyer?
The Destroyer.
But walks into a store, buys Tums, and next thing you know, he's sponsored by Tums.
Hell yeah.
Chuck was a funny guy though, but he was actually
super
he was actually a pretty decent arm wrestler though.
He was super funny. Yeah, and there was a viral clip of him that went really, really big back in the early days of YouTube where he was talking a bunch of shit at his first UAL event, I think, and he got
Yeah, he
smoked.
took on Luke Kent.
Yeah, Luke Kent. Holy shit, what happened to him?
Luke's still pulling.
Is he?
Yep.
Fuck.
Doesn't it just seem like the whole regime has changed since like 2014? It was like
Yeah.
you had the UAL was on top of the world, then you had Game of Arms, then you had the WAL, then UAL disappeared, and what, Danny? So you're relatively new in the sport. What do you think is the main thing that hinders this sport from growing into a sport like soccer, like rugby, like basketball, where athletes are getting $1 million endorsement contracts?
I think it could be like a lot of things. I think, number one, there has to be like somebody willing to like financially put money down, and build like a league. You got to get it in front of the most eyeballs as possible. Like to me, I think, and a lot of people won't agree with this, but like everybody says Dana White, and I'm like, I don't know if it's Dana White. I personally think it's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon ain't got nothing to do right now. He's got billions of dollars. He knows how to develop characters that people, would love, and stuff. But, because it's Vince, everybody will think it's a work, but I think Vince would know what to do with it. He's that's my personal preference. I think Vince McMahon, he would find these guys and bring their characters out and get them, like on NBC or Peacock app, or something big like that where you can just get eyeballs on it. Arm wrestling just needs exposure because, like, I'm a truck driver. I work for a company called Dot Foods, and there's arm wrestler or there's truck drivers there that didn't know arm wrestling was a thing until they found out I was one, So it's still relatively niche. It's still relatively very small. The thing is, you got to get eyeballs on it. There has to be a want and a need, and I remember reading one time or hearing, I can't remember, but Dana White basically picked slap fighting over arm wrestling because slap was more viral.
If you read the actual statement that he made, slap was more viral, but it was also more entertaining.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this the other day. Like, if I had the money to start my own league, I would cut out all the bullshit. Everybody would go and start off in the strap and in a ref's grip and be done with it.
Yeah, because a lot of times, too, like my wife, she watches all the arm wrestling stuff with me, and she loses interest when it takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes for guys to get a grip, That's
right.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. Arm wrestling has been in front of the Olympics, and it's always the same thing. How can you shorten this to fit in this time slot and make it entertaining enough that people are going to want to watch it? And that's right. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's the thing about the Olympics is, like, I think it should be an Olympic sport because arm wrestling probably is one of the most ancient forms of sport there is. You go just right
sure.
next to swimming and running and wrestling, You can't tell me the cavemen weren't arm wrestling. You know
Oh,
what I
they
mean? Like,
definitely were. We were talking about this a couple episodes ago, where Ray told me that the first depiction of arm wrestling, like, is in
yeah, it was
a
like
Egyptian
in the pyramids of Egypt
in
or
the
something.
pyramid.
They
Yeah,
had like hieroglyphics on the wall of dudes arm wrestling. You know,
yeah.
totally should be an Olympic sport. But one thing I think that people don't seem to realize, if it becomes an Olympic sport, like there's going to be drug testing. You know,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
so you're not going. Levon's not going to be an Olympian. You know,
Well,
No.
no, I mean, and you look at a lot of the different athletes the Olympics have, right? You think the top strongest men in the world are in the Olympics? No, because they're on too much gear making the money,
yeah,
right? No, Levon won't be. And maybe if it gets to the Olympics, we actually get a legitimate nationals. You know,
well,
we
they'll
get
have to be. Yeah,
we get a legitimate, state qualifier, national qualifier. Get invited. Instead of this rinky dink where Joe Blow is competing in the pros on Saturday, and then he's coming to compete in the amateurs on Sunday while competing in the Masters while pulling a super match with a pro. It's like it used to be arm wrestling was you pulled your weight class, period.
mm.
But then it became all about money, and it's like, hey, like in Vegas, there was a teenager pulled the kids class, junior class, 17-year-old, pulled the amateur class, pulled the men's pro class, and damn near beat the ranking world champ,
Oh wow.
but was still allowed to pull amateur.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
right? To me, to you, straight to you. You should never pull amateur again.
Yeah, then I probably I'm not basically. Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Because
it's like
I still
it.
have people that tell me, you're an amateur. You know, like you need to be an amateur for 2 years or whatever. You know, that's like the sentiment up here. You know, but after beating you, they're like, you're no longer an amateur. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I tell Desmond, because I let Desmond compete in a couple of super matches, but nothing major. So like I told him after Patterson, we'll go down to Anaheim. We'll see how you do in Anaheim. If you blow through everybody in Anaheim, let's see how you do in October with your super match, and maybe we'll put you in your first pro tournament at the LA Fit Expo.
Yeah.
Because I made him train 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It shows for
um,
sure.
and he doesn't have the tennis elbow. He doesn't have the tendon pain. Because he's not always firing it off.
You know, to go back to the Olympics and stuff, like I think a guy like you has the right idea, getting it into the schools, you know, and start these kids young, you know, and Jody Smith, um, he's starting a teenage division because he's getting a lot of interest on Facebook and Instagram. You know, teenagers are messaging him asking, you know, about getting in. So he's starting a teenage division for
Brother,
teenagers.
I got a kid right now. His mom asked me not to post anything on him yet, but he's 15 years old. He's 6 foot, 312 pounds of just freaking beast.
Oh, like
You
Devin
know,
said, there's big people out there. You know?
he's benching 315 at 15 years old.
Oh wow.
And I'm not just talking about one rep. He's doing it for a good solid 4 reps. He's been training with me now in arm wrestling now for about 2.5 months.
There's even a teenager. There's even a teenager out there in the Golden Valley Kingman area that I met him at your tournament. I think his name's like Zedekiah or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, he's really good. And then a guy pulled at your tournament. His name was Pierre. His boys
His
are
son.
really, really young.
Yeah, Maximus Hodgkin. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this kid, so he's Samoan. So he's just a different kind of
Yeah.
insane.
I know all about those Samoans for sure.
Yeah. So he's all itching. He's like, when are you gonna let me pull? When are you gonna let me pull? So next year.
Oh wow.
That'll be your sweet 16 birthday party, man. So I'm hoping to unleash him on Patterson next year.
Oh yeah, and then up here, Pulowski, the grandson, I think his name's Jaden. He just turned 18, and he's doing really well. You know.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, Vince
So
Pulowski's grandson.
so as a new puller, what are some of the things that you see that can be improved on?
Well, I don't know if I really have an opinion yet on what needs to be improved on because, like, I've been in the game for so little time. It would be cool if tournaments can start on time. That would be really great. You know, but as I'm still learning everything. I'm still finding out, like, what is the do's and don'ts and the right and wrongs, and so it's I'm kind of like not the person really to ask, but
But see, you are, because you get to give it a very interesting perspective, right?
mhm.
Because you get to come at it as a fan with with a little bit of an inside knowledge of what the sport is, and then you get to come at it as an athlete just starting in, right? So we know that what got you in the sport was Devin and watching videos of Devin. But now that you've been in the sport, okay, starting on time, which I don't think there's a tournament in the world
That's
that ever starts on time.
like even East versus West. The prelims was 45 minutes late. It was
Oh
supposed to
my
start at 10
god.
a.m. The first match didn't get to the table till like almost 11. It was almost an hour delay. So yeah, you're like, even the number one league in the world doesn't really start on time.
Right.
So that, like, to me, that's my biggest thing is, like, it doesn't seem like there's any tournaments that ever start on time. You know, so you just end up staying there later. You know.
Yeah. Well, and then too, I think the organization of the events have changed a lot over the years. You know, I think a lot of leeway's been given. People that don't want to stay to the end of the tournament allowed to get their medals, early, which creates a clusterfuck around the announcement table and the scorers table, you know, um, or the inconsistency of how a tournament's run from one to another. You know, I would just, I mean, and we talk about this all the time because I say this all the time. I would love to see an organization get their shit together, like the AUA, and really, really commission the shit out of this sport and get everybody in line following the same standard, but as it's been stated many times, egos and shit will never allow that to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have like a governing body in America, and there'd be one set of standard, rules or whatever, like in America. But that's pretty much like in everything. Like there's
But
multiple organizations.
we we
There's just
used to we used to have that though, the American Arm Wrestling Association. Up until the early 2000s, that was the organization.
so what happened? How come it's no longer around?
UAL came about with their big contracts and
Oh, yeah.
their big cash giveaway. Like right now, like you talk about people doing stuff. You got Greg Sharp, WSA. You talk about getting more eyes on the sport. He's got a show on Tubi.
Yeah, but
You
who
know,
has Tubi?
anybody who wants free streaming service.
I never
You
get
know?
on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've never.
I do. I watch all my Rocky movies on it. Right now, every
Oh,
every
wow, they got
every
Rocky movies.
every Rocky movie and Creed movies on there right now.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
But but believe it or not, I mean Tubi actually gets a lot of viewership. That doesn't mean the show does. right?
Right.
But then he's got this new thing, like you were saying, Dana White may not be the guy, but Greg Sharper's doing that thing with the same thing that Dana did with the Ultimate Fighter,
Oh yeah.
but he's calling it the Ultimate Arm Wrestler.
Yeah. I heard
Same,
about that.
yeah, same thing. 6 guys, 2 coaches, you know. So I mean, but they're not the first time, right? You got to think about this, Danny. We were on the Wide World of Sports,
Yeah.
featured every week,
Yeah.
every Saturday on Wide World of Sports. We
Yeah,
were on
I've seen the clips.
Yeah, we were on ESPN. We've been on Fox Sports, Bleacher Report. There's not been more eyes on our sport than there is now. But what is the secret formula? What gives arm wrestling that niche? It sets us apart. That puts the sport over the top. Where some of these young bucks like Paul Passmore and Josh Elton and what's that young kid's name from up north? The lightweight, the 145 guy.
From California?
Yeah, he's like a national champ.
Oh,
He was-
Santino.
Santino. You know, you look at these guys, man. They're absolute beasts.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, I think the one of the most important things for an arm wrestler to have right now, like you have to have a following on social media. You have to do the TikTok. You have to do the Instagram. You have to do it. Like you have to post content because like that's what the young kids are into right now. And if young kids are not watching TV, they're watching TikToks and they're watching YouTube. So like I think it's I have a TikTok, I have a YouTube, and I'm a nobody. And the thing is I think the way like you really have to grow the sport is through social media. It's through getting like viral clips and stuff like that. I have a grip video on TikTok from my little grip machine here. It has 90,000 views, and I don't even know how it got there. You know what I mean? Like,
it's weird. It's weird, bro. So I put up three TikToks. Mine and yours match has got like 438 views. Otto's match has got like 13 views, but Desmond's match has got like 48,000 views.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's the same
algorithm's
fucking
so
thing.
weird. Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah. That
You
is
know?
weird. Gotta figure out that algorithm.
Yeah, you gotta, hashtag girl in bikini, and then everybody will see your video or something. I don't know.
Well, now you can't even do that because now if you hashtag a video with a hashtag that has nothing to do with the content of the video, you get blocked.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you do it too often.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think it's really important to have a social media following. Like, I'm not kidding you. The last tournament I did for Jody Smith, I had 2 people come up to me and tell me they saw me on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, wow, really? Like, and they're like, yeah. And they like came to the tournament and like introduced themselves to me and like okay, awesome, And they saw me on TikTok and they started following me, and then I posted the flyer and they came and they gave arm wrestling a try.
That's awesome.
2 people, and I was like shocked, like wow, And if every arm wrestler that has a social media account can get 2 people to show up to a tournament to see them, I think that's huge, right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
that would definitely be huge. Well, before we wrap it up here, Danny, let us know what's in the future for you. What do you got coming up?
So right now I'm kind of just in limbo, I guess. I'm just resting and training. Today was actually the first time I've trained since Patterson a week ago. I did like 10 matches in Patterson, and my left arm was cooked. My next event is either going to be in July or August for California Arm Wrestling Entertainment. Then in October, I have a super match with this stud arm wrestler from up here in Northern California. His name's Chris Fordhall. It's going to be at the Pulling for You Strongman charity event. They're raising money to fight cancer, and Jason Wigney, he puts it on. great man, one of my best buddies now. I've only known him for about 6 months. Talk to him every day. We're putting on a card in Manteca. We're gonna have 7 matches. Autumn is gonna be in it. She's gonna take on Chuck DeJong's daughter Rachel, who's really doing well right now. And then, Desmond's going to be pulling Brett Brody, and Brett Brody's a stud. He beat me left, and then we got Spencer against my training partner, Mark, the Atwater Viking Anderson, and Eric Linville, Zach Pow Pow are going to be on the card. We have some really good matches that are going to be at this charity strongman event. And if you want to see people, pull diesel trucks, if you want to see people do the Hercules hold, the deadlift, melody, the circus dumbbell. I actually tried a circus dumbbell, and I got 100 pounds up and over and legit lift. So that was really awesome. That's going to be October 3rd in Manteca. And that's pretty much it for now. July, August, I'll do a tournament, and then my super match with Chris in October.
See, I always say I should be accredited with the deadlift world record because I got to keep lifting up this big ass fat belly up over my fucking belt, my belt loop here, and fucking get it out of the way and shit.
It's funny because I'm a fat guy and I never do deadlift, and I could deadlift 405 like it's nothing just because.
Brother, I don't deadlift. I don't do any of that shit, and I got a actual farmer's walk rig. Right? So the rig itself weighs 110, but you can load it up to 1,500 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Well, I slapped 550 pounds on it and picked it up and did it and did it for a few reps. And it's because of our size. And I mean, I'm a strong guy, but
I train legs about once a month, and I basically only train legs so I can still climb in and out of my truck and trailer. You know what I mean? That's kind of
So Danny, for anybody who's going to watch us, let us know how they can follow you and where they can find you, brother.
Oh, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. Basically, Danny Medeiros. There might be a 77 at the end because that was my old football number in high school. So it's like Danny Medeiros 77. But yeah, I'm on all the social medias and everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
YouTube also.
Well, Danny, we're going to end this up here, man. Thank you for coming on. It was an honor pulling you last week, man. And do not let anybody ever tell you you're not fucking good enough, because you are. You're a great puller. You deserve that win, and don't let anybody try to take it away from you. And for Big Mike and myself, Big Country, from the pit, peace, always love, and hang loose, guys.
Come on.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
You got to flip the hat around, brother. Flip it around.
Yeah. Flip the switch.
There we go.
Yes.
All right, man.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Take care, Danny. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.